I have 9 o'clock on my clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So hey, this is great. I'm so glad to see this turnout and have you all here this morning. My name is Stephen Erno. I am the general manager here, and I've been here a solid 4.5 months. And so far, it's been a wonderful time. I've really appreciated everything. I do want to start by saying, if you can do me a favor and silence the phones. I know I shouldn't have to remind that, but people sometimes still forget. So we just don't have those kind of interruptions. So with that, so happy to be here. So glad you're all here on this beautiful morning, and we're here for our mid-year update, my first one, and just wanted to talk about a little bit about myself as far as coming to the community. Again, 4.5 months. For those of you who don't know, I had a previous experience, 35 years in public service in local government, mostly in community engagement. So this is kind of my wheelhouse here, that I enjoy doing these types of events. It's been a great time so far, super welcoming by everybody. The community's been wonderful welcoming me here. I appreciate the board for the opportunity to be here, and they've been super supportive. Staff has been amazing, and I'm in that mode right now where I'm kind of getting my arms wrapped around things and moving things forward. One of the things that I've been wanting to work on is some of the expanded communication. So that with that, we have started to do bi-weekly, and I think we were doing it maybe before, but I'm not sure if it was bi-weekly or not, but the bi-weekly online GM reports. Make sure you check those out when they come out. They have a lot of really good information in there to share as far as where we're at with certain projects and just in general with what's going on with the rec centers. And we are looking to, just sort of a preview, we're going to be working on updating the format of those in the coming months to make them a little more appealing. Right now they're very just text heavy. We're looking to make them a little more interesting to look at with infographics and things like that. Some of you hopefully have, and I know I was mentioned, somebody already came up and said, hey, I appreciate your videos. I've been doing the videos. That was actually my predecessor. The interim had started those, and I think they're a great way to get information out. Had a lot of good positive feedback on those, so I've continued doing those videos on an occasional basis. So watch for those. They get pushed out on social media, on the website, and all that. And then I am excited to announce one of the things we're going to start next month is called Talk with the Team. So once a month, we're going to have a get-together. It's going to be a casual. It's not going to be a presentation. It's simply come in for an hour at a time. We'll be open to anybody who wants to come in, ask any questions of myself or any of the team members, and basically get information. If you've heard a rumor, we want to make sure we give you all the right information. If you're just curious about anything going on, it's going to be your opportunity just to interact with the staff and be able to get it directly from the horse's mouth instead of hopefully social media. So be looking for those. We'll be announcing those, and that'll be sort of a Q&A, casual interaction with that. And then one of the things coming up real quick also is our strategic planning. We're going to be launching that. I literally just yesterday had a Zoom call with the consultants on that, and expect to get the first phase of that, which is a survey, out to our board members and to our team. The strategic plan is different from a master plan. A strategic plan is basically the next 3 years or so of projects and initiatives that the board is wanting to accomplish. And from that, we will then be looking at doing a full-on master plan. So that strategic planning, though, is an important piece to know where we're going, to keep us focused on what we need to accomplish over the coming years. And it's a living document, so it will be updated every year with the board to talk about the things that have been accomplished off of that, things that should be maybe decided we're not going to do anymore, and then maybe things to add to that. So great stuff coming. With that, I am going to go ahead and get the program started. So each of our team members are going to be talking about their specific areas and giving you updates on that. And to start that out is going to be Todd, who's going to be talking about our environmental services and giving you an update on where he's at with those. So come on up, Ted. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Stephen, and good morning. Today I have a few highlights from last year. Am I running? And we'll start with our golf course water usage for 2024. As you can see, our total water usage was 3,859 acre feet for last year. This was the last year that we were in our fourth management plan. We started fifth management plan January 1st. So that was the last year that we had that conservation allotment of 3,897. So we ended up 38 acre feet under our allotment, our fourth management plan allotment. And that's for all 7 golf courses, which is really good. that equals out to be about 5.4 acre feet per golf course, and that's really good. With the summer that we had and lack of rainfall, I really thought that we were going to be over our allotment by quite a bit. So you'll see in the next slide here, this is the reason I thought we were going to be over our allotment. Yeah. You can see we broke all kinds of records. In fact, we broke a record, a high temperature record, just a few weeks ago. So it just continues. You can see we had the hottest June on record, the second hottest July. We had the hottest summer ever on record in 24. And then we set a number of high-low temperature records, consecutive days over 100 and also consecutive days over 110. And that's with very little rainfall last year. So that's why I thought our water reports were really going to be out of whack, where we're going to be way over our allotment. So I think we did a good job of managing our water this year. The Grandview project was a big help. You know, we took out 45 acres over there. That really helped us out a lot. And then just our water management practices that we have on all 7 golf courses. And then this is a 15-year water usage that I put together starting back in 2010. And you can see starting in 2013, we have managed to stay under our conservation allotments. And that's at times where we've had really hot summers, we've had very little rainfall. And so that's 12 years in a row that we've been under our allotment. So I really think this tells a story, and I show this all the time. But, you know, we spend a lot of money and time on our water conservation projects every year. And I think this shows the payoff on that, because if you look in this year, we only had 3.4 inches of rain. That's very little. We didn't even get a half inch of rain during the monsoon season. And we rely on monsoon season to really make up some ground with our water usage. Because if you get a couple inches during the summer, you can usually keep your systems off for 3 or 4 days or longer, depending on the humidity levels. And we just didn't have that this year. And as I mentioned, we started January 1st, we started our 5th management plan. It was a reduction of 34 acre feet. So even with that reduction, what we used last year, we'd still be under our allotment, which is good. You know, we're doing the Echo Mesa project this year, which is going to add to it. We're taking out 18 acres over there, so that's all going to help. And I'm confident that if we stay on track with our irrigation and turf reduction projects, we're going to be able to manage our allotments going forward. We go over to Stardust after Echo Mesa, and then we do Pebblebrook in 2029. So even if they come out with a 6th management plan, I'm confident that we're going to be able to stay within our allotments. And then, as I mentioned, we did the Grandview project in 2023. I did an annual comparison of water usage, and I threw out the year 2023 because that was our project year. And so we had to have the water off for certain time periods over there. So that's just not a fair comparison. So I'm comparing 22 to 24. We used 32 acre feet less. And again, with the year that we had, I think that's really, really good. And then our irrigation run times with our new system. Before the new irrigation system in 2023, we were running 10 to 11 hours. Now that's the time that the irrigation starts and then finishes. And that's peak season. That's June, July, and August. And with our new system, you can see that we're running 7 to 8 hours. So that results in less kilowatt usage on our power for both the well pump and the distribution center. In fact, you see we had a 7% decrease on our well pump and then a 34% decrease on our distribution station. And that's even with a rate hike. I think it was 17% rate hike from 2022. So that's really good. And I think this is just going to go up. And then we're going to see these results over at Echo Mesa when we do the project over there in Stardust and Pebblebrook. But I think with the year that we had, I think we're going to see this improve. It's hard. I can't imagine having another summer like what we had with the record temperatures and lack of rainfall. So I think that number is just going to continue to go up, and we're going to see the savings. Now, dollar amount on the savings between the two plants looks to be about $4,100. I know it's not a lot, but it's something. It's a savings. But I think as we go through time, we're going to see that increase. And then part of our water conservation, in September, we did a shoreline hardscape project over on number 3 at Trail Ridge to the right of the green. We have a total of 41 lakes in our entire system for the 7 golf courses. To date, we've completed 22 of those shorelines, either with the riprap that you see in the picture here or a split-face block wall. It saves water and energy. on this. We lose a lot of water due to seepage. We've lost erosion on the shorelines, anywhere between 8 and 10 feet in some cases. So we're repairing that. We don't have the erosion, but we've definitely reduced the seepage, and that saves water. And I just did a quick estimate. By the 22 lakes that we have, I estimated that we save about 30 acre feet a year. So that's big. It really is. Whoops. And the last thing I have is the Echo Mesa project. As you know, we're in phase 1 right now. We start that project in April. April 7th is when we kick off that project. So just an update on the timeline. Pump station installation, that's scheduled next month for February 11th. We were going to do that this summer, but we held off on that because of the heat and no rain. I didn't want to take the pump station offline and not be able to water the golf course for 3 or 4 days. So we pushed that out a little bit. We have our second public forum for the project scheduled for February 14th over at 1 to 3 o'clock over at the lecture hall. And then, as I mentioned, the project start date is scheduled for Monday, April 7th. And I'm going to turn it over to Pat O'Hara, who manages the golf operations department.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. I have a few slides to discuss golf. Whenever we're talking golf, life's good, right? So golf in Sun City West is good. Good in the product that we have. Todd and his crew do a wonderful job, and good in the fact that we stay busy. This slide behind me is the rounds per golf course as well as yearly totals for each of the last 5 years. You can see that Deer Valley is a very popular golf course. Pebblebrook and Echo Mesa stayed busy as well this past year. This slide here, I wanted to share the 4 cornerstones of golf in Sun City West. The first one, course conditions. Again, Todd and his crew do a wonderful job providing a good product for us. Price and value, we're a great value for the price that we charge. Customer service, from our managers, our starters, our custodians, our ball pickers, all trying to do the best that they can. Pace of play is the missing component that we like to try to finalize our 4 cornerstones with. You can have the first 3, but if the 4th isn't any good, it kind of puts a tainted picture on your round of golf. So we try to do our best to get you around in a very, not a fast pace, but a reasonable pace. So all of those are important. Green team. Some of you may know what the green team is, but we kind of modified it a little bit the last couple of years. It's called Green Team 2.0. Who plays in the green team? These are people that have never played golf, that are residents in our community, or people that have taken a hiatus from the golf due to careers, family. They're coming back to the golf. Typically, we have 90 to 120 golfers on Saturdays playing at one of our executive golf courses and learning the great game of golf. But we try not to forget our serious or competitive golfers too. We have a list of tournaments that we host out of Golf Ops. We have 18 different chartered golf clubs in Sun City West. Inter-club events, outside events such as Knights of Columbus, Natterberg Educational Foundation, the Desert Hickory have played here for 10 years. So we stay busy with outside events too that are well supported by our residents. Most recently, we've had a change in our phone system, and it's been good. But we're dealing with how to handle some communication challenges on frost delays, cart path restrictions. So there's 3 ways in which we try to communicate those with our golfers. First is the text that Todd and his crew put out first thing in the morning, and then we follow it up with communication with our pro shops to see what that delay has turned into as the day progresses. And then we also have a component on the website. It's suncitywest.com/hotline where you can get up-to-the-date information. And then lastly, we've just added a new solo rider. It's a cart for those that have special needs, and it gets them out on the golf course. So we're happy to present this. We're getting ready to roll it out. Currently, it's over at Stardust. But if somebody has a need for this, we're asking them to reach out to Golf Ops, and make a reservation, and we'll get it to their golf course that they're playing. We just have one. Yes, sir. If the need arises, yes, we'll add to it. Yes. All right, at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Cliff Swan, our CFO.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see your smiling faces this morning. We're going to talk about where we're at year to date through the middle of the year and our financial situation. I'm here to report that we're in really good shape, and let's talk about that. So in terms of the financial statement for the year, we haven't presented at our Budget and Finance Committee yet. We just actually closed the month yesterday. But so these are estimated numbers, but they're pretty tight. So we're very close on these numbers, but we'll be presenting at the B&F meeting on Tuesday. As you can see, a little behind on a little variance, negative variance on revenue at 110,000, but on 12.9 million in revenue, not too bad. We put an aggressive golf budget together this year, so you see really golf rounds are a little bit down, but I will say we've picked up here in the month of January, so some hopefully be able to make that ground up in January. But 110,000 off on 13 million in revenue, not too bad. Looking at expenses, we're 850,000 favorable in expenses, so for a total of 740,000 favorable year to date for the year, which is pretty good. And we've put away approximately half of the reserve fund allocation that we anticipate to put away for the year. So we've put 565,000 in reserve fund allotment. So pretty good for July through December, the first part of this fiscal year. So let's look at the reserve fund. So for year to date in the reserve fund, we have investment income. So these are interest and dividends, less the fees for the management of the reserve fund. We're positive 609,000 in investment income year to date. If we look at our valuation, our realized, unrealized gains and losses, December was a tough month for us, but year to date, we're approximately 10,000 favorable in our valuation of that reserve fund. And then for a total of 619,000 for the year positive in our reserve fund investments. And there's approximately 31 million in that reserve fund. So kind of we get up here and, golf gets these nice pictures and smiling faces and, for budget and finance, it's mostly charts and tables, but I did want to share one of the things that we've done this year or in the process of doing is we've got this large study. It's called our reserve study. And the reserve study is basically the lifeblood of the heartbeat of our budget every year because it's all of our assets. It's all of our assets that are over $5,000 in value and have a 5-year useful life. It's not buildings per se, but it's ceilings, flooring, stages, lights, things like that, these light structures. These are all in our reserve fund. It's a full-time job managing that reserve fund. And we currently have this spreadsheet that's up to 1,400 lines right now. And we manage our assets through that spreadsheet. It tells us how much useful life we have left in an asset, what the cost is of that asset. We inflate that cost on the annual basis to make sure that we have funds set aside to do our capital improvement projects. Well, we've spent a little time in the fall and looked at some different software packages to help us manage that reserve study. And we landed on Smart Properties, and we just engaged with them, and we're in the process of converting that spreadsheet over to this software package. The beautiful thing about this software package for us, because the reserve study is such a large part of what we do, if you think about maintenance, for example, the maintenance department, they have maintenance schedules on all these assets. So we budget for that in the operating budget. And then we budget in the capital budget to replace the assets when the useful life ends. And, some of it is subjective. We do look at our assets here and what type of product do we want to provide for the community? So you may look at an asset and say, well, that's still got some useful life on it. You know, this, for example, it's got a little chipping here, you know. Do we want to replace that, or do we want to fix that, or what do we do with that? So there's some subjectivity in the analysis process of our reserve study. So we spend a lot of time on that reserve study, and this will help us manage that process. It'll give us greater visibility, management visibility. All the different department heads will be able to go in and see their assets. So that alone makes it better, because now we just send them a spreadsheet. Here's all your assets. You know, this, we can have pictures, we can have locations, we can have all kinds of different things, geolocations, things like that. So this will help us manage our reserve study. So we're excited about that. And that's the exciting part of the finance presentation, to talk about this reserve study. It really, yeah, woo! So, but back to the numbers. So when we look at our APF fees, so we talk about the reserve study, we talk about our assets. Well, our APF fees fund our reserve fund, okay? All of the APF fees that we collect go for the repair and replacement of our capital assets directly into, okay, per policy. So for the year, we've got 525. We budgeted 514, so we're right on budget, a little ahead of budget. And then our revenue is a little bit behind. That's just because of the mix of some of the REDS program that we have and the timing of when we collect fees. But right on budget is what I want to report at $2.7 million. All right, so part of the financial services is memberships and CC&Rs. So I just wanted to share a little bit of data with you about our membership department. So in our membership department, we've had 16,000 transactions in there for a total amount of $11.3 million in revenue. And this kind of shows, this chart kind of shows the POS. The point of this slide is to let you know we are very busy in our membership department, okay? And we love it. We get to see people come in, they pay their dues, we get to talk with them, they talk about their grandkids. It's just a great experience. And but we're very busy in the membership department. If we look at our CC&Rs, so we are a homeowners association, so we have our CC&Rs, and we manage those CC&Rs, and they are very busy in there as well. As you can see, all of these transactions and all these things that happen throughout the year take place in our CC&R department. So I just also wanted to show, we manage these violations. We are passive, so our violations come in through complaints, and then we address those when they come in. But these are all the different types of violations that we're dealing with. You can see most of them are landscaping related, because we have part-time residents, and so we make sure we stay up on that to keep the community looking nice and uniform. But we also have, this is our current violations and what the status of those violations are. So you can see the vast majority of them are closed, but we do have some open violations, and we have different phases of those. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, how are you being violated?
Well, these are violations to the CC&Rs. Yes. What's that? Oh, pets. Yeah, so we'll have some Q&A as soon as the presentation's over, and those specific questions can be answered by Riley. But that's just wanted to give you a snapshot into our CC&R department as well as our membership department. So now I'm going to take this opportunity to transfer over to Kirsten Peterson. She's our Human Resources Director, and she'll take it from here.
Thank you. Well, maybe. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Kirsten Peterson. I am the Director of Human Resources, and what I'd like to talk to you today is about the Human Resources Department and all the things that we cover and we manage and work through on a daily and yearly basis. And so I think sometimes folks have a perception of what HR is. So I'd like to kind of just walk you through who we are and what we do. You'll see up here, we kind of talk through the life cycle of a human resources department, and we do all of these things from hiring to benefits management and compliance. We do that with a group of 3 people, myself, and I have 2 HR assistants, Raquel Martinez and Luis Gazar. And some of the things that we do is when we get ready to do a hire, we need to review job descriptions and we do postings for jobs. We go through the hiring process, which includes a very detailed process, including background checks and drug testing. So it's not just a, hey, you want to come get hired, put in an application and move on. There's an entire process that goes through that. In 2024, we actually hired 122 employees in either full-time or part-time positions, and 48% of those hires were actually residents of Sun City West. So we celebrate all of you that come in and do the hard work with us. We also do some things surrounding general support of employees through our benefits renewal process that we start in June for a new renewal year of January. We get started through that process, and then in earnest, we pick it up in October and November. We managed 370 different changes with our employees, 370 employees rather, through those changes. So we're interacting with employees on various levels. The other things that HR does is we do succession planning, performance management, job training. We transfer people between departments as the needs arise if that comes up. One of the things that isn't talked about very often is HR compliance and what that means to a busy HR department. We navigate some really highly complex and rapidly changing and evolving plans. And those things are the Fair Labor Standards Act, the ACA, which is the Affordable Care Act, and we have to look at all of our policies and procedures and make sure that everything from our handbooks to our policies to how we are handling and managing those processes are done within the compliance world of both state and federal laws. One of those things that we do work with quite frequently is the Family Medical Leave Act. And so those are things that we had over 100 employees that we engaged with last year. And we do things related from all the celebratory things like the birth of a child to the unimaginable, when we've got the loss of a child or the loss of a spouse or catastrophic health diagnoses. And unfortunately, sometimes we lose employees. So we work through those things, and that's a big impact to our employees. The other thing that HR does, and this is by no means an exhaustive list of some of the kinds of trainings that we do, but these are some of the things that we provide training on. 2 of the things at the top of the list there were very well received. The active shooter training that we did, we had done some full-time employees about a year ago, and then this past year we got all of our part-time, seasonal, and on-call employees through, and that was very well received. It was done by Maricopa County, and it was an on-site and engaging environment for people to learn and what do we do in the event of an active shooter. The AED and the closed chest compression training that we've done, we did about 72 trainings with the fire department here in the past several months, and 2 of our local residents were direct recipients of that training in the past several months, where we were able to jump in and have employees engage with community members, and they were able to be taken to the local hospital. So that training definitely paid off for us. And the thing that we believe also is super important is to say thank you to our employees. And we do that in several ways. And again, this is just a few of the things and the items that we've done in the past year. We recognized 64 employees that are veterans of the United States Armed Forces in November. We held a employee luncheon in August in which we talked about the tenure of our employees, and the management got together and voted on things like the Employee of the Year. So there's a few pictures up here that celebrate some of those things. And one of the things I'd like to call out is the actual tenure of our employees is quite different than the industry standard. So we are the service industry, and the industry standard for employees in that group of employees is about 2 years. So employees come and employees go. Our actual tenure for employees here at the rec centers of Sun City West is 7 years. And you will see that the folks up here are just the ones that we actually recognize during our employment. But we have 214 employees with more than 5 years of experience, or years of service, and 14 employees rather, with 30 plus years. So I think that speaks well to the environment that we provide and that we create for our employees. They enjoy staying. And the last thing that we did up there is the managers get together in December, and they put together a breakfast. Not only do we make the breakfast, but then we actually serve the breakfast to our employees and the members of our governing board in a holiday celebration each year. So we think that's really important. And in conclusion, when we look at HR departments, we're a department of 3, like I said, myself, Luis, and Raquel, and we service almost 500 employees. And the industry standard for that, for an HR department, typically is 1 employee for every 100 employees. So we're doing it very lean and very efficiently. And we do that servicing and providing employees in a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week environment across 26 locations, 51 buildings. That we're doing this year-round and day in and day out. So we are proud to serve you, and we're HR. So thank you. I'd like to bring Katie O'Grady, who is our General Services Officer, up.
Thanks, Kirsten. Well, it's good to see everyone here, and hopefully a lot of you are watching this at home on YouTube. If you did see PR and that's what got you here, that's what our division does. We have both print media and digital media. And we're excited this year because the facilities team was able to onboard a new AV tech, and that helped us free up our multimedia tech to get back to the PR side of the house. So things like the general manager's videos that Stephen was talking about, other videos, the golf course flyovers, you're going to see more of that coming out of our team now that we've got a little bit more time. And also, you're going to hear from Casey on another video effort we're going to have coming forward to highlight the facilities and the chartered clubs. We heard from a resident that had suggested that, and we appreciate that feedback from him. And it was kind of already on our radar. We just needed to get the time to do it. So you'll hear more from Casey on that. On the print side, we updated the rec center news. So we did this primarily because it was outdated. It had been 10 years since we had done a big update, but also our rec news is delivered through the Independent, which helps keep our costs down. They have a new format because they're kind of getting ready for U.S. Postal Service in case they stop doing home delivery. We have old-fashioned home delivery with a driver throwing it on the driveways. That doesn't happen a lot. And as those drivers retire, we're probably going to see the Independent and therefore the rec news going through the Postal Service. So we are all ready to go with that, our new format size. And we made sure all the fonts and leading and all of that was appropriate for ADA, so it's easy for our folks to read. So hopefully everyone is enjoying that. We're also doing updating the CR forms. Those are the club forms if you're reserving a facility or you've got new officers. We went from paper to fillable PDFs, and now they're going to be web forms right there on the website, much more user-friendly. The interface will be cleaner and easier for folks. And then we reinvigorated our relationship with the Historical Society. And I love this because the Historical Society is located in Sun City and obviously primarily focused on Sun City because that's where Del Webb got his name. And there wasn't as much of a Sun City West presence. So we've been working with them for a number of years to make sure people know, hey, we're out here, we're different, come check us out. They've been great partners. We co-hosted their annual meeting last week. If you're a member of Torch, we'll take you to the museum, or actually you cover your charge for getting in the museum and go with the class down there. If you go outside Palm Ridge or any other rec center, you're going to see a placard that tells about the history of that rec center, courtesy of the Historical Society. And they've got displays at the library and at the Village Meeting Room just focusing on Sun City West history. So we're really excited to see that focusing on us. We've been busy right now with the election coming up. If you do not have an email on file with membership and you are an owner member in good standing and you want to vote online, get your email on file by, I think it's March 17th, and you can vote online. Otherwise, you can vote in person on March 31st. But in this February Rec Center News, we had an outstanding number of candidates this year, I think higher than I ever remember. If you go to the middle of your Rec Center News, you're going to be able to pull those 4 pages out, and it will be a handy-dandy guide you can take with you to the forums, you can take with you to the polls. So just having that number of candidates made it easy for us to do that. So we're looking forward to that. We graduated in the fall our 29th Torch Academy. So we're working on 30 right now. That starts in February. Last week, I think we had 4 slots left in that class. They may be filled, but if you're interested, stop by the front office and see if there's any slots left in there. That's a great program, always receives great reviews. The Historical Society presentation is always one of the best received one. And like I said, we'll cover your cost of going over and touring the museum as part of that class. On the library side, I love this one personally. I've been interested in dementia care and that sort of support thing for many, many years. And I don't know if you know this, but over in Sun City, we have the Banner Sun Health Research Institute. It's world-renowned, and they focus on dementia and Parkinson's disease. And to have that world-renowned facility so close is amazing. So we partnered with Banner for a number of years. Tracy met with their team yesterday to find out what kind of topics and world-renowned researchers can we bring through the library's lecture series as part of that. So she'll be announcing a lecture series with that coming up soon. They're doing more of those types of presentations. But these memory kits are pretty exciting. As we age in place here in Sun City West, you can't do the physical activities maybe that you used to do. And so your world starts getting a little smaller. And we want to make sure we're still supporting all of our residents. And the library is a fantastic place to do that. We have these memory kits that the team at the library put together. They're multi-sensory, so you can work with your loved one and go through, puzzles, maybe not a 1,000-piece puzzle, but a smaller puzzle. And these kits are going to be focused on a variety of topics that interest different individuals. Maybe one on trains, this one's on gardening, different ones that really pique their interest. And when they open it, it's a tactile experience. There may have some with smells to bring back those memories that we know as you age, some of those go away, and smell and touch, those type of memories bring those back. So we had a roundtable with some of the clients that might benefit from this, and it was really exciting to get their feedback. They also have a resource center over there, so if you haven't been there and you might find you're interested in that type of topic, stop by the information center at the library. The library recently introduced a new integrated calendar. It works directly with their cataloging system. So if you're in there looking for books, it'll pop up suggested activities that make sense, or you can search directly for the activities that are happening there. And they are doing a ton of activities. Part of the testing for this, I imported their calendar into mine to do some testing, and I'm like, oh my God, my whole calendar was just filled up. There's nonstop stuff happening there at the library. And then we've got it integrated so it automatically fills into our regular calendar. If people aren't automatically going to the library calendar, they'll see it in both places with no extra work by the library team. And lastly, they did have a plant and craft supply activity there that was just let's try this, see how it goes over. So if you have extra craft supplies, maybe you're just not using them anymore, or you're into a new craft, you can bring it in, and then other people can come in and take those. So we're kind of sharing and repurposing at no cost to anybody. It was just outstanding. The amount of supplies turned in, and almost all of it went back out the door, was fantastic. Everyone benefited. We'll probably do that again. It did, however, highlight the limitations at the library. We have one room there. It's a meeting room. It's a Friends of the Library room. It's a craft room. It's a staff room. It's a break room, and it's not very big. And even VR is held in there. So we do have a pending request with the strategic plan to maybe look at changing that library to to meet the needs of the incoming generation with more multi-purpose space, more technology, more open floor plan. But pending that, whether it happens or not, we do have an immediate need. A lot of our book groups, the activities are selling out. We have to turn people away. We don't like to do that. We've added additional support groups, but there's only so many you can fit in that room on the schedule. So we're going to look at repurposing an area, not completely, but back where the children's area is and the puzzles, and realign some of those shelvings, maybe bring in some sound walls to create sort of a marked off space where we can have additional book groups meet and additional activities. Won't be completely soundproof, but it'll make do, and so we don't have to turn people away. We'll see how that works out for us. But their activities are just blowing up over there. So many of them, and there's wait lists on most of those. So we're excited about that. And then that is it for general services. I'm really excited to announce Kyle Hockman is our new Information Technology Director. He's the newest member of staff, and he's hit the ground running, and he's going to talk to you about IT.
Hello, I've been here about almost exactly 2 weeks now. So a lot of these projects on here are before me, but I'm just going to go over the overview, and then 6 months from now, I'll have a lot more hands-on with these issues. But what we do in IT, we do a lot of short and long-term projects, but also in the day-to-day issues arise. People open tickets, and we fix them. So this is kind of our chart of all the tickets that we get on a day basis. You can see a phish alert. That's when they submit the emails. They think it's phishing, it's fraud. So they'll submit that to us, and we'll let them know if it was real, if it's legit, if it was phishing. And we actually do some phishing testing. We send out emails ourselves. And if they fail that, they actually have to do training and that type of thing. Also kind of high up on here is telephones. We just did a telephone system upgrade. So a lot of those issues were just configuration on the new phone. So that'll go down. And one thing we really focus on is kind of root cause. If we see things come across that's happening all the time, we'll go out and proactively do training with the employees to kind of reduce those tickets in the future. So if people are having software issues, how to do something, new techniques, that type of thing, we'll do some training. We'll set up with them to kind of reduce those issues in the future. One of the major projects we're just kind of wrapping up right now is the phone system. We went from an old on-premises NEC system to a voice over IP system, which runs through the internet. So the phones run through the internet infrastructure, which we had to upgrade all the network switches on property to power over Ethernet, which provide the power to the phones and a little bit more bandwidth. The total cost of the project was $130,000, but we will save moving forward, starting basically today, $8,600 a month. So it's a 15-month return on investment. So after that time, it's pure savings of $8,600 a month, which is great. We also replaced our remote desktop services server number 4. We have about 12 to 15 servers on property that we replace every 5 years proactively. So as those come up in the 5-year plan, we replace them before they die on us. And over in Palm Ridge here, we upgraded the Cox circuits to accommodate the new fitness equipment. For the multimedia that's built into the thing, we need more bandwidth, so we've got that provided with better Wi-Fi infrastructure. And as we roll out those new equipment to other areas, we will also be upgrading the Cox and the internet to those areas. And then we also extended the utility network to the Metal Club for the HVAC control systems. And we'll also look to get Wi-Fi out there in the near future for public Wi-Fi. And we're working on now, it's not rolled out yet, is the master calendar room signage plan. So you can go online and look at the master calendar. We're gonna have the outside of rooms and that type of thing too. So you can kind of up to date, you can see what events are happening in all the different rooms across the property. And we also migrated the Power BI structure, which is what our finance team uses for reporting and that type of thing. We moved it to the Azure cloud. So when we expand our capabilities, do more reporting, it'll organically kind of scale with us instead of having to do a major project to kind of get it moved to a better environment. And I kind of touched on it before, we provide training for the rec monitors and POS usage. So like I said, as issues arise and we see kind of a pattern of things happening, we'll go ahead, we'll get some training together for them so we can kind of teach people so they know how to do it better and they don't have to kind of call IT every time they have the same issue that keeps popping up. And that's about it. I'd like to introduce Russ Boston, our facilities maintenance manager.
Good morning, everyone. So I would like to highlight some of our major accomplishments this year. I don't know, those of you that know, we had a battle with Mother Nature and woodpeckers here at this Palm Ridge facility that like make Swiss cheese out of the building. So we took a huge swing, repaired all the damage, and repainted both buildings. And as of yet, the woodpeckers have yet to return, so thank God for that. At Beardsley, we painted the perimeter walls around the Beardsley complex. We modified the entrance to the Beardsley pool. We actually had an issue with one of the ADA operators in the interior door. And the more we looked at it, now that we enclosed the patio entrance, we no longer needed a second entry, which made it easier accessible by wheelchair anyways. So it was a win-win. We replaced a damaged step at the diving area at Beardsley Pool. This one I'm kind of proud of. It was never intended for us to do the work. We drained the pool. We notified the vendor, and they had a specialist coming in under them who at first told us we needed to empty the pool. Then we didn't have to empty the pool. We just had to expose this step. So we emptied all the water out, and then they left us hanging, said that they changed his mind and we needed to drain the whole pool. So we said, we're tired of this. We can figure out how to do it ourselves. And we successfully accomplished that by the end of that same day. So we did it within the scheduled closing of that facility. There we go. Some other accomplishments at the entrance, R.H. Johnson Boulevard in Bell. We did some lighting on the palm trees. Our lighting previously had always been on the ground, homeless, sometimes damaged by landscapers, county folks, because that's an accessible area there by vehicle. They would always run over our lights. So we got some light fixtures that actually mount to the palm trees. They shine up better on the trees themselves, and then also have some that shine down on the bottom. And we'll look to extend those throughout the community as the years go by. We also started on common walls, the repair and painting. We had a vendor do R.H. Johnson Boulevard. Come on, there we go. Whoop, too much. All right. Electrical feed at Echo Mesa Drinking Fountain. Those of you that golf, it was an ongoing, elongated project. We had to bring in a vendor. They had issues working with both the county and APS, but lo and behold, we did get that finally finished. We replaced our oldest AC unit to date. It was 40 years old over at the R.H. Johnson Tennis Building. We did that internally. We also repaired a roof drain that was leaking over at Silvercraft. Every time it rained, water would come up through the floor. We couldn't figure out why. And back in the mid-90s, they did an expansion to the Silvercraft, and turned out they built the expansion right over top of an existing roof drain line that had cracked. So we got that fixed. Our biggest one for this year was the R.H. Johnson pool. We had a lot of cloudy issues. Our chemistry was all good, so we dug in and started troubleshooting and found that when they did the remodel, it wasn't the best backwash system that they had decided to use. So, and we had channeling in the media. So channeling comes from not showering, body oils, things of that nature. Over the course of so many years, it coagulates. And then the water coming into the filter cuts a channel, so it's bypassing all the filter media. So we changed all the media, redid the entire backwash system and how it functions, and we are now going to change that media on a regular basis every 5 years to ever prevent that from happening again. And that was the problem before and the solution after, so we intend to keep it that way. Thank you. I'd like to now introduce Sabrina Elevado, who is the Facilities Operations Manager.
Hello, everyone. All right, facility operations. So one of our responsibilities here in facility ops is doing all of your setups here at the rec centers. So throughout 4 rec centers, and over the last 6 months, we've done a total of 374 setups. Majority of those setups, like the one that you see here today, are happening between our 2 biggest halls here at Summit Hall and also over at the social hall at R.H. Johnson. Our team of leads and FAs, they're the ones who make it happen. They get with our guests, our customers, rec center events, events department, or any of our clubs, meet with everyone, and it takes a team to get some of these setups done. It's our FAs, our leads, the time of our AV techs, and getting everyone in place to make sure that we have successful events and that your setup's ready to go. This slide right here, I just wanted to share our facility usage. This is showing the number of check-ins over the past 6 months between our 4 rec centers and between our pool users, our fitness users, and then how many guests. You can see that for our pool usage, our R.H. Johnson pool is our most used at nearly 43,000 users. A lot of things go into effect with this or play a part in that. It's going to be someone's preference, a member's preference, the amenities or the activities that are provided, whether we're kid-friendly at that pool. If you're going to go to that same facility, maybe after the pool, you're going to head over to play mini golf. So it just depends on what we offer at that rec center and where we choose or where you guys choose and your guests to go get checked in at. Fitness, we're pretty same across the board. You can see that Beardsley, R.H. Johnson, and Palm Ridge are all near that 25,000 mark. And then Kuntz coming in at 15,485 users. And then I just put our guest usage on there just so everyone can kind of get a good idea within the last 6 months how many people are coming in and wanting to share our facilities with all of us and all of you guys. All right, within our facility ops team, because we have this high usage and we have so many setups, the other side of things that we want to make sure we're on top of is our custodial. With all of our events going on, we have to be cleaning day in and during the day and at night to make sure that everything's prepped and ready to go for all of our members and their guests. One of our biggest expenses in this department is our cleaning supplies and paper products. So I just wanted to kind of share what our current budget is for this fiscal year and over the last 6 months, what we've actually spent. If we continue to mirror our efficiencies that we've put in place for the last 6 months, we are on the path to have some pretty good savings at the end of this year. Some of those efficiencies, one of the solutions we found for here at Palm Ridge, we were having heavy toilet paper theft. Yeah, sounds pretty funny there. But here in our bathrooms right here in the Summit Hall, excuse me, and over at the Aquatics building, it was pretty easy for people just to snag a whole roll of toilet paper, walk out of a facility, and there goes 15 rolls in one day, and we were like, what's happening here? We are just high on paper products. So we got to switch over to a pretty cost-efficient dispenser that you can see up there in the right-hand side. So we have already seen an improvement in that. One of the other things that we do, we work with our chemical reps just to find a more efficient product. And down in the far left, that's a photo of one of our chemical dispensers. So after we find the product that works best, we want to make sure we get it in these dilution dispensers or machines. So that way our staff, we're not sitting there pouring glug, 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 and we just use a gallon of chemical or soap, and hey, we just wasted that. This way, this dispenser is automatically going to feed us the amount that we need for what we're using. And we could do anything from a floor mopping or a soap for our floors to sanitizing. We had a certain sanitizer during COVID that helped killed a certain range of viruses, and we've been able to update our newest chemicals for what viruses may now be spreading, what's most current, and what's going on in those ways. There's some other photos of our team using some of our new cleaning equipment machines. We also want to find efficiencies in our labor and cleaning. We don't want to always, hey, hand and mop was old school, and that's what we tell some of our staff here. Hey, sometimes you need that mop and bucket just to do a quick cleaning, but we really want to rely on these machines. One, it helps with our physical labor, and it actually performs a better job in the long run of maintaining some of our areas. And I do just want to give a quick shout out to our night crew, because most of you guys won't ever actually interact with our night team, but we do have a cleaning crew that comes in from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. to get our buildings up and running and looking great so that we can open and everything's clean, ready to go. And then one of the last things we did in the last 6 months with facility ops is our replacement of our strength and cardio equipment. Here at Palm Ridge, we did both strength and cardio. Cardio is typically every 5 years. The way that this season lined up was strength and cardio were due at the same time. So we took advantage of that and looked at it as an opportunity. to get, brand new equipment, find some upgrades. And one of the upgrades we could find in the cardio side of things that Kyle, our IT director, talked about was getting streaming services implemented into those touch screens on our treadmills. So when we implemented this new equipment, the facility ops team, Matt Wellman here at Palm Ridge, our lead, and some other staff, we held an open house. We brought in Matrix reps to meet with our members. We did a week's worth of one-on-one training and demos, and then we also partnered with our CC Fitness, our fitness vendor, to come in and help train members too that just had questions and wanted to get some more info. One thing that we added too, a lot of these machines do have a QR code on our strength equipment currently. You can use that QR code now to get a quick how-to video. And then we went ahead and took it a step further, and we created our own videos for all of our cardio equipment that didn't already have that in place. So with the help of our PR team and Martin, we got some videos and demos put in place that you can find if you go on our Sun City West website. So overall, facility ops team has been super busy. We're excited, and we're just looking forward to our next 6 months. So thank you. And I just want to introduce our recreation manager, Casey Huda.
Oh, good morning, everybody. So happy to be here and see y'all. I just kind of want to go over where we're at with charter clubs. So we currently have 91 charter clubs. Over the past year, Christy, Constantino, and myself worked with 32 clubs to update their bylaws. So that's great. Fantastic news that the charter clubs are moving forward and trying to make their activities and their members move up with the times and with all the changes. In 23, we made the new bylaw reformatting, so that was a lot of work as well. So by doing that, it forced clubs to go over their bylaws and see what their needs are. Then we had our officers meetings last week and treasurers meeting. I have one more today with the golf clubs, and those went very, very well. I actually brought in some guest speakers, so that actually enticed people. I didn't see any eyes shut this time. It helps to mix in some new people. Then you'll see that we have videos featuring clubs. Back in the spring, I think last year, we did platform tennis. And then over the fall, maybe the summer, we also did cornhole. And then you will see red ball coming up. That is with tennis as well. So we're working with more clubs virtually for that aspect to help promote their needs for whatever activity they may have. And then the RRPs are currently under review with the Charter Club Committee. So if you are not paying attention to that and you are fully invested in your charter club, I highly encourage that you do start watching that. It is on the first Tuesday of every month at 1:30. It's on YouTube or it's at the lecture hall if you want to see in person. And then what Katie was referring to earlier was the virtual facility tours. This was something that was recommended a little while ago, but now we can move forward with this. We have a project in place with Tim Peterson. If you have not done a tour with Tim Peterson, I highly encourage it. But if you don't have the time, like many of us do not, as we see the generations are changing, we are going to have this hopefully up and available within the summer or fall. He's going to be going to every single rec center and doing a tour, not only hitting just the chartered clubs, but the facility itself, what's available at each facility. So then if you have friends and family, am I interested in moving to Sun City West? You can actually direct them to this link that we'll have available at some point. Then we have our scheduling department. So our scheduling department oversees everything that pretty much happens here to make sure that nothing conflicts. They deal with the chartered clubs, they deal with the Sun City West events department, which I'll do next, making sure that the room for any governing board or staff event that's happening is set up for you, as Sabrina talked about earlier. But not only do they do that, they do community rentals as well. So over the last half of our fiscal year, we've had 83 reservations made, and that's really good. But with that, they have to fit within the scope of the chartered clubs. The chartered clubs do utilize our facilities probably, I would say, about 80% of the year. So to fit that in is a lot of work, and it's huge kudos to the staff that have to break down, set up over and over. But what we did to hopefully help curtail that is we moved a lot of our fitness and dance classes over to the social hall so that this room becomes more available for your meetings or special events and so on and so forth. So just kind of wanted to hit that. And then the EMS is our scheduling software. We have pretty much gotten almost to the 21st century with this. Prior to that, it was only on our network and only 3 people could have access to it. Now every lead, every supervisor, everybody in admin has access to this so that we can work together in a little bit more of a cohesive manner. So that's been huge for us. And then I am going to go into events after this slide, but I wanted to just point this piece out. So when you run events, you want everything on the surface to be perfect. Things happen, but it's our job to make sure you don't see what happens underneath. In October, our Christmas event was canceled by the performer. We'd already had 500 tickets sold. So unfortunately, we had to come up with a plan B. We could not cancel that because it's one of our favorite events. So we were able to get with some of our staff and come up with ideas, and we ended up having a candlelight concert with the Encore Quartet. It ended up being a great event, had really good feedback from a lot of people. So I do want to just kind of give a shout out to everybody involved that took this over. I saw Dustin was back there, but he was helping us dethorn every rose that we gave out to everybody. Tracy, it was a whole new experience for her. Katie helped with some ideas, and then Sabrina and her staff helped execute it. So please understand how much work went within 1 month of a full change. So that's what it takes. So I just want to give a huge shout out to that. And then, so going into special events, if you have not been to a Munchie Monday, we've only had one, but it was a very successful event. This is our first year that we're trying it out. Next year, we do plan to add a few more. It is something that is held on Mondays over at the library because it is closed, so we have a little bit more availability. And we bring in a band and food trucks, free admission. You just come and hang out. The next one is February 17th. That is President's Day, so put that on your calendar. Then we have the Bash. We tried that out in August, sold out. Did it again in November, sold out. Have it again in February, almost sold out. So this is something new that our past event planner brought into our community that people seem to really love. It's not a dance. It's something we have, if you can kind of see, it's not the greatest picture, but you'll see that there's little axe throwing, not real axes. We have beanbag toss. We have giant Jenga. There is, a band playing. You can talk. It's just a fun social activity for everybody to enjoy at a very low cost. And then we're trying some new dance concepts. If you went to our October Halloween or Christmas dance, we brought in a stilt walker. We had more lighting aspects. We had photo ops. So we're making it more of an event and experience, not just a dance that you come to and dance. There's more opportunities for you. And then for the upcoming events, our top hats, we sold every single one of those out. That's great. And then our cabaret series, if you haven't heard our very first one had to cancel due to the flu, but we did reschedule that for the 20th of February. That's another fun experience that events get to put up with when it happens, but it's out of our control, so we do our best. Then Music on the Green, I do want to kind of give a little fun fact that in February, we have Dawson Acoustics coming. The son, who's Colton Dawson, will be on America's Got Talent. So come see, they are very talented. They're the first ones for our bash. They are an extremely talented group. It's a father and son. And then Munchie Mondays for Munchkins. This is in place of the past Happy Camp. So a lot of information has been put out to clubs, and you will see it in the February Rec News, along with some of the social media that goes out. And then our Food Truck Festival, which will be April 1st over at Beardsley Park. That information is going out as well. And then our Spring Fest, which we do very well, looking forward to that. So I'm really happy to say that special events is back underway. This is our busy season. We're cranking, and we are planning to have a new event planner here shortly. So I am going to go ahead and hand this off to our capital projects manager, and Carl Wilhelm.
Good morning, everybody. This is always a highlight part of my year. I get to do some bragging about cool projects that have been supported by the development from our staff, our governing board, and most importantly, their approvals. So without that, we wouldn't have these opportunities for growth and development in our community. We did a lot of focusing this year on the Palm Ridge Rec Center specifically. We put in 2 brand new pool decks and the new wainscoting inside of the indoor pool center. So you see the new rubber deck both outside. It almost doesn't look real. It's really beautiful. We did have some issues. The season, the time, working at night. I actually had to have the vendor come from Texas come back and redo the pool blue a few months ago. They were very helpful, and I'll explain a little bit more about them in a moment. You're going to see the indoor wainscot. This project was actually a continuation project that got put on hold about 3 years ago due to timing with COVID and the availability of tile. So all things worked out really nice, and if you go inside the Palm Ridge Indoor Pool Center, it has got a full refreshment. Next year, we're going to focus on all the interior painting with the governing board's approval on this. So new deck, new tile walls, just a great environment. A lot of operational activities that are new in there, like volleyball, improved net posts in the ground. It just continues to be something that we really strive and focus on making sure it looks great. Pickleball facility had some refreshments. First of all, they had the new shade canopy placed up, and some of the other things that were done there I'll speak to in a moment. Beardsley Park had a major facelift. If anybody's been at Beardsley, you'll see that for the very first time we have a full fence system around that park. That has been something we've discussed for a long time. The major improvement with this being done is that we don't have staff laboring so hard to put up a snow fence that wears out after a couple times of going up and down, driving posts in the ground every time that there's an event, taking it down because it's kind of unsightly. Now we have this beautiful park with a fence enclosure. We added more gates, more safety access for when the events leave at night, and we also included some extra walkways so people could leave safely after the events are over. Beardsley also was one of 4 locations that had asphalt resurfacing done, so we have new seal and stripes. Our program for parking lots is that after a parking lot has been redeveloped and the old asphalt's been removed, we put in a new parking lot, which we have accomplished at 98% of our parking lots. There's only a couple more parking lots to go, and they're both golf related. Otherwise, the rec centers is good for its next 30 years in its parking lot management, but approximately every 4 years, we do a seal coat. You get its new refreshment coating to preserve that old asphalt, and it all gets restriped. We did Beardsley, Grandview, and Trail Ridge in this last 6 months. Over at R.H. Johnson, a couple years ago, 2 summers ago, in fact, we had another continuation of our rubber deck, and as you're all aware, there was a failure in the chemical mix that was provided to the vendor. That vendor from Texas worked very closely with us on trying to solve it. We were the first client of theirs, of many, that ended up realizing that there was an issue with their process. So we are the only client to date that actually had their deck replaced. So this company has been hit with some enormous costs and trying to work with their customers across the country, but they stood up and committed to us that, based on the relationship that we've developed, they came in over this summer and tore out the old deck and put in a brand new surface, and it looks great. Another major improvement to our facilities in the sports areas were all sport courts, so all the tennis courts at R.H. Johnson and the pickleball at R.H. Johnson, and 50% per schedule over here at Palm Ridge. All the sport court surfaces, pickleball and tennis, were redone. And in some locations, we even had the wind screens replaced. And then finally, some of the other projects that were completed: Desert Trails Pro Shop patio expansion. So you can see in the picture to the left, we had a beautiful patio area for landscaping, but the needs of our members have asked for more place to be social, and we've done this so far at Deer Valley and now at Desert Trails, and it looks fantastic and gets a lot of usage. So folks, it's always my pleasure to do these projects for you. You might be aware that I am retiring in 3 months, so it's been my honor to work for you, and I just say thank you for all these opportunities. Thank you. And next is Gary.
Good morning, everyone. I am Gary Zarek, the new Sports Pavilion Manager. I have been here approximately 6 months. So a lot of things are going on. First, before we even go to a slide, I would just like to tell you all, we have 2,600 bowlers in 31 bowling leagues, Sunday through Saturday. Saturdays are a bowling club that runs about 180 people on a Saturday night. And the other Saturday nights are red pin bowling, and that is also about 180 of our residents and non-residents. So it is a very busy place. The first thing that I've done since we've been here is the billiard room was looking a little tired. Some improvements need to be made. We have so far recovered and re-leveled 10 of our billiard tables and bought 5 dozen new pool cues because they were rather old and worn. We will be doing some more upgrades this coming year. Got it. In August of 2024, a total new sound system was put in. New speakers, access to the Lizard Acres pub, also to the billiard room. The old system was not as accessible to everywhere, and now this has become an amazing, amazing sound. We can play our music, we can play our national anthems, we can have access to Lizard Acres and also the billiard room if we need to do that. So a really, really good improvement. Thank you. Finally, in the Lizard Acres pub, we have replaced 5 of the 47-inch televisions with 5 75-inch televisions. And these are been taken, the residents really appreciate these when they're watching all of the sporting events, especially the football games. So now all of the televisions are the same size, and everybody seems to be really happy in the lounge coming in on Sundays watching football. You will also notice the 2 televisions that have nothing on them. We had a wall of all of our awards in 300 games, and they were pictures of all of our residents who have bowled high games and performed well in our bowling center. Unfortunately, the wall was filled up and there wasn't any place to do any more. So rather than lose that history and legacy, what we've done is we've converted that wall over to a couple televisions so that we can preserve the history of every resident who's ever bowled a 300 game or an 800 series in the bowling center. So we also have the pictures of everyone who did. And I have them still in my office of people who have not picked them up. We have tried to distribute them out. So if anybody knows of a relative or a friend or someone who may have shot a 300 game in the history of that bowling center, please come into my office because I still have their picture and I will not throw them away until I get rid of every single one of them because they are really important to the legacy of this bowling center. So a lot more changes are coming this year, we hope. So the next 6-month meeting, I hope I have some more information for you. And with that, I believe I'm giving it back to Mr. Stephen Erno. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gary. So with that, I'm sure they have dazzled you with everything, and you probably have 0 questions. But in the event that you do, we're happy to take those questions. I do want to say, though, if you think about it, there's a lot going on here at the rec centers, and I just really appreciate all of the staff and the hard work that they do, and all of our team members that are out there, making sure that everything's in tip-top shape and working order for you. They work really hard so you can play really hard. So they do a fantastic job. But with that, I'm happy to take any questions from anybody that has anything from the audience. And if not, wow, I don't see anybody jumping up. There we go. Well, you didn't have to, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, good morning. Do I give my name and my
Sure, please.
Yeah, Jim Scott, 404675. First of all, you guys are the dream team. I took away from this what an amazing community we have, and I thank you very much. I've always believed we have a wonderful community, and it's just relit it up again. A couple questions. Cliff, on your presentation, can you include the rate of return on the reserve fund? I mean, 609,000 sounds like a big number, but when you put it on a percentage basis,
About 3.8%.
yeah, we're barely beating inflation. So it would just be nice to communicate that.
Yep.
Thank you. With the investment of our IT, and we've got an IT gentleman on board now, is there kind of a vision of what we're going to do to enhance our member experience and maybe start with that website, taking it from stagnant to more dynamic of experience?
Yeah, so there's actually many things, and part of the strategic planning process will be to vet out those different things. Things that I'd like to see, to your point, I think the website, it's not the worst, but it definitely needs to be upgraded. I think it would be in a better format to make things easier to find. It is a little challenging sometimes to find things, I think. But there's many things that I want to look at truly from a member experience of how we can make sure that folks are easily being able to access the facilities and get into the rec centers and quickly and not forming the big lines. So trying to figure out different ways to improve that. But again, that's going to be part of that whole strategic planning process, is taking ideas from the governing board, what they would like to see, taking ideas from staff, having opportunities for those ideas to come together and really get into a succinct document that says, okay, here's all the things we want to do, which I suspect is going to include a lot of IT. I know I personally want to see a lot of IT improvements. I think there's many opportunities for that.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the other thing. I mean, we've got all these 91 clubs. We've got 91 different websites. I mean, 91 way of ticketing. There's got to be a way to consolidate and enhance the.
Yeah, and we're really excited to have Kyle on board. He comes with a wealth of experience in this area, so I know he's going to be a great asset to us, and he's already hit the ground running. So I'm looking forward to what he'll be able to bring to us and help out with those issues.
Wonderful. You're the perfect person to be talking on this one. I was driving on the public streets. I know Pride's does a wonderful job. I'm part of that team as well, of maintaining our community. But one of my little pet peeves is taking the trees down. I know that when they're dead, they're dead. I mean, it's no brainer. But I saw a couple trees on the drive-in that look like they're tagged for removal. Who makes a determination, A, of removing the public trees? And B, do we have any process of somebody going around doing a drive around and fertilizing and maintaining these to kind of spruce them?
Yeah, so I mean, so the county, obviously maintains the roads, and McDOT handles that, Maricopa County Department of Transportation. But I know we also are involved with some of those trees and the different ones in the medians and such. So maybe you can talk to that a little bit, Todd.
Thank you. Yeah, if you're referring to some of the trees on R.H. Johnson Boulevard as you come in, yeah, that kind of is a county responsibility. So I'm not sure who tagged those. I suspect it was them that did that. So I don't know what their plan or timeline.
Deer Valley. Thank you. Yeah, this Deer Valley. It's on the passing Deer Valley Golf Course. There was some trees that I passed by that look like they're tagged to go.
Okay, and you're right. The Prides do take care of those areas on not only on Orange Johnson Boulevard, but over on Deer Valley Road. And we help them at times, especially with the trees, the trimming. And if there are dead trees, we'll remove those. And our crew, the landscape crew, will replace those trees. And we've been in the process of replanting trees. I think in the landscape in the last 3 months, I think we've put in about 70 new trees. And so as soon as it warms up a little bit, we're waiting for spring to come around. So we're going to get back on our tree replacement program.
Is there any process to where we go around annually looking at trees that look, hey, this could use some fertilizer, or, you know, give it a little
Yeah,
love?
absolutely. We do that day in and day out. We look at the trees and see, evaluate them, see if they need to be trimmed or if they actually need to be fertilized or removed. Or also the water source. Do we need to turn the water down or turn the water up, depending on the situation?
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And last and final, HR. I just wondered if there's an opportunity with the training you guys get for like active shooter and how to use a defibrillator. Maybe there's opportunity to have a training with in the community for having Maricopa do a presentation for active shooting response, you know, for the community, or how to use a defibrillator. I'd like to learn how to use one.
Yeah, we can explore that for sure. Yeah, we'll look into that.
Awesome.
And I'm sure there's opportunities we can put together some sort of training that would involve the community. I'm not sure when or what that would look like, but yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah. And along last and final, on the line of the strategic planning, is there any opportunity for community input on that as well?
So again, the difference with the strategic planning is really for the staff and the governing board to say, hey, this is what we want to accomplish. These are the things we're trying to accomplish. Where you get into the community involvement is really the master plan. And that's a very different document. That's the one that has a lot of, I mean, that's pretty much all it is community involvement. I mean, that's where you're going to have community meetings, you're going to have surveys, you're going to have different focus groups, different key players involved, gathering those folks together and really putting together that long-term and that overall vision of, okay, what is it do we need? I mean, you know, you hear all the time people saying, gosh, we need more space, we need this, and I want to do it, but you have to figure out a way to get all that together into a document that really lays out what that looks like. And then from there, that strategic plan, again, is a living document. So once we get past this initial phase, what will happen is each year, I as a general manager will meet with the governing board and with the staff to go over that, and we'll basically say, okay, here's the things we accomplished, and then, okay, governing board and staff, what are the things you'd like to add to this? And we will basically update that year after year after year. The master plan, when we get that going, will be a document that'll be, okay, here's the long-term vision, here's what we're working towards, and the two work together at that point.
All right. Do you have kind of an idea? I know we're just starting this journey, but I know you've got past experience, so you kind of have an idea of how long it's going to take for the strategic side. Do you have kind of, are we looking like for maybe the summer or fall?
Yeah, so the strategic plan will have finalized in March. And the master plan, again, that's going to depend on through the budgeting process for the board to say, yes, we definitely want to do this and give the okay for the funding for that, and then getting a consultant on board for that. Generally, once you actually get the consultant going, it's usually between a 6 to 8 month process, just because, again, you want to make sure you are really vetting all of the members of the community and giving them those opportunities to interact and provide that input. And especially because, you know, we're a fairly large community, 28,000 people, that's a lot. And you want to make sure that you're capturing all of those ideas and all that input as much as possible. So I would say, again, once we get one on board, probably within 6 to 8 months. So my goal really is to get that to happen by the end of the year, is to at least get a consultant on board and get that started.
Okay, perfect. Thank you again. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you. All right, any other questions or comments or thoughts? Very good. Yes, sir.
Bill Weaver, 124087.
Hi.
There's just a couple ideas that I see as are kind of blights in the area. One is the 303 billboards. I've brought this up at one of the board meetings also. I'd like to see trees put along the Javelina Trail that would shield the residents. That probably wouldn't take more than a couple dozen trees, but I mean, there are several houses that I'm sure if they look out their front picture window, they see the billboard straight ahead, and some are shielded, and I think it would just take some strategically planted trees. It might have to be a little larger than normal.
Yeah, do we have the ability, Todd? Is there area there that is ours that we would be able to even do that?
Yeah, you know, when they put that 303 in, we did have a program where we did plant trees, and that was for the homeowners, kind of block the noise and some of the lights and everything. But that's something we can look at. And there are trees that have some height to them, like a eucalyptus tree and that kind of stuff that we could put in, kind of block the view of the billboards.
Yeah, I think that would be great. The other area, and I don't know if we do something about these or not, someone does, and these are the grocery carts that end up in the parking lot on H.R. Johnson or R.H. Johnson, and it would be nice if those were, maybe somebody came out every morning and just removed them, even if it's not our job. They just kind of look like our clutter.
Yeah. So I'm smiling because my entire career in local government, I've been in community engagement, neighborhood, community development, all that. I can't even tell you the number of times I've heard about shopping carts. they've been my arch nemesis my entire life. So to hear about them again, I find it funny. But you're right, they are blight. What I would tell you is that your best friend is 1-800-THE-CART. So most major grocers, including Fry's, contract with 1-800-THE-CART, which actually is ran by the Arizona Grocers Association. And if you call them and tell them where the location is, they will come out and pick them up and remove them.
Oh, okay. This is more of a question. I'm wondering what, Sun City West has like a debit card that you can put money on. I'm wondering what that can be used for. I know there was discussion about using it for golf rounds at the golf clubs. Are there?
Somebody help me out with what that can be used for. I mean, I know there's a couple of things, but Katie, if you can help out.
Yeah, it's not a card, the member credit, if that's what you're talking about. You come into membership. So anywhere we have one of our POS systems, so all the golf courses, billiards and bowling, but not the bowling facility because that's on a different, that's on Brunswick. And then any of the rec centers for your guest fees or any activities that are at those. So events is separate. Yeah, but anywhere else that we have like a monitor or starter checking you in.
Okay, I have a suggestion for that could be considered, and that would be for allowing members of clubs to pay their dues through that. I think that would be safer than credit cards, and it seems like the clubs don't want people to use checks, and I think they have given up on cash, and so I think it might be a secure way of having that member credit card, using that, and also it would expand the use of it so that if people wanted them to use it to golf clubs, people would start using it and it might become a little more useful for everyone across the community.
Yeah, so, and we can look into that. The one thing I will say is I agree. I think there's opportunities to expand the use of that, and that's one thing we've had some discussions with. But again, that's going to be all along the lines, again, some of those initiatives, those planning, even working with Kyle, with IT to figure out ways that we can make that stuff work. But I would completely agree that I think there should be opportunities to expand that member credit and where it can be used and how it can be used.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, anybody else? Well, I just want to say thank you. I'm glad you all came out this morning and spent some time with us. And again, we're always here for you. And if you have any other questions or comments, feel free to come up afterwards if you'd like as well. But thank you so much and appreciate you all being here. Thank you.